I'm really excited to be here with you guys tonight. I'm really blessed that you guys would even think to offer this opportunity for me. So basically, I don't want to waste any time. How many of you guys have taken a public speaking class? Raise your hand. Jeez. Well, nothing needs more said. I have never taken a public speaking class. I'm not a professional. I'll probably break every rule you've learned in the next couple minutes, so don't judge me, and we're going to get off to a great start. I've actually had some people ask me, where does my authority come from when I talk to groups like this? And the answer to that is, and this is a personal belief of mine, I don't know what you believe, but I believe that everything that I am blessed with comes from God. So everything good that you hear me say comes from God. Everything stupid, bonehead thing that I do say, that goes from me. You can blame me for that. That's definitely me. And I also understand that we're all different. We can all read a book, we can all go to the grocery store and see something different than somebody else saw. And that doesn't make it wrong. We saw what we saw, and it is what it is. So, some of you guys might like what I have to say, and some of you might think that your 5-year-old sister had something better to say than I did. So I understand that they're both right, and that's okay. You don't have to fake it yeah, he was great. It's awesome. It is what you believe, and that's absolutely fine. So don't feel bad or anything like that. All right, and I really apologize, but I actually just finished writing this about 4 hours ago, so I might look back at this, and I'm really glad this is informal because it might happen a little bit more than I would have liked. I'm a big structure guy, so I just want you guys to be able to follow along with kind of where I'm at. I'm going to address you guys as individuals first, and then kind of address you guys as a sisterhood together, if that makes sense. And what I would like to do is kind of start at the lowest common denominator and kind of work myself up so that we can understand we're all at different points in our lives. Social development, whatever you want to call it, your own development, I don't know, but if I start at the lowest common denominator, there's a really good chance that I'll be able to swing through and say something valuable for each and every one of you. So that's kind of where we're going to go. Where I'd like to start is self-worth. I don't know, you've probably heard this a million times, yeah, you're awesome, you're great. And it's true, you really are. But I do want you to understand, and really, really understand this at a deeper level. Nobody in the history of the world will ever or has been like you. The way that you were born, the way that you were raised, the personality you have, the physical attributes that you have, the dreams, the aspirations, that's all unique. That all makes you rare. And whoever hires you, whoever decides to date you in the future, that makes you rare and that makes you a catch already. Forget whatever leadership experience you've had. I don't care if you've raised $7 billion and saved 7 billion lives. All right? You are awesome no matter what you do. And it's going to help. The more you understand that, the better it's going to help. And I really hope you guys do know that. And especially this age, I noticed that a lot of people tend to focus on their weaknesses a lot more than their strengths. They like to compare their weaknesses with other people's strengths, and they like to beat themselves up a lot. And I want you guys to understand that every weakness that you have, everything that's kind of brought you down, whether it's things you've done, things you were born with, I don't care what it is, whatever brings you down, that's great. It's beautiful. And you might be like, I don't understand what you mean by that. And I want to offer you guys a quote. It's one of my favorite because it's so applicable. For every seed of adversity, there's an equal or greater seed of opportunity. Let's unpack that a little bit. Basically what that means is anything bad that happens in your life, it's all a matter of perspective. It's all how you want to look at it. And basically, you might think, how does this weakness limit me? How are other people going to see me through this weakness? And what you don't understand is that people look at you the same way if you were to accomplish great things. They're going to look at those weaknesses and be like, man, if she can do it, I can definitely do it. Do you understand that the bigger your weakness, the bigger your hindrance, the bigger of a belief builder you're going to be for somebody else? And I don't know what you find value in, but if somebody came up to you and said, I want you to know that what you did changed me. It helped me get through a part that I couldn't get through. And I want to ask you, is that worth it to you? I mean, is that fun? Does it seem like anything you'd be interested in hearing from somebody? Whether you want to say it out loud or not, I venture to guess that it is. So I really challenge you guys to understand that those weaknesses should be cherished right now. And you should be more real with everybody than you've ever been in the past, because you don't know what kind of day you can make for somebody else. You have no idea. You might never know. But just understand that you guys have a lot more going for you than you may have understood. And I wasn't going to talk about this as much when I actually had accepted to come speak to you guys, but I actually just went on a missions trip to Newark, New Jersey. Has anyone ever been there? Okay. Worked with some of the inner city kids there. It's probably not a great area, right? Not very good. Funny story, I actually got mugged by a 7-year-old girl. I'm not proud of it. It happened. I'm telling you the truth. A lot of firsts there, definitely. But I'll never forget it. But what really shocked me is how blessed I was, and how blessed everybody I came with was. There were kids there, there were 5th graders there that thought there were numbers in the vowels. And many of you know that there aren't, I hope. There were a lot of 1st graders, 2nd graders who couldn't count past 10. Kids were playing in broken glass. They would go home and their parents wouldn't even be there or wouldn't care when they were coming home. And it really struck me that we have been blessed with so much more than we really realize on a day-to-day basis. I asked a little kid, you know, what's your dream, man? What's your dream house look like? He could not even dream up a house better than I had been living in when I was in high school. It crushed me, because even while we were there before we moved and everything, my mom wanted better cabinets in the kitchen. Were we not happy with what we had? And these kids could not even dream of a better house than I had lived in. It just rocked me to the core. And the way I want to transition this is, you guys all had dreams when you were younger. I don't know what it was, you know, but they were important. Think back, way back, wherever. They spoke to you in a way that nothing else really did. And I would ask you guys, how close are you now? I used this one before, but I feel like it's really applicable. If you wanted to be a firefighter and now you're an accounting major, you're going backwards. You're not getting closer. And that's really important. You guys know who Tom Brokaw is? I never thought of him as like a really wise man. But one thing that he said that I just loved was, when you have a degree, it's your certification to the world. You might think to yourself that that's your ticket to a great life. He was like, I would challenge you guys to think, maybe that's my ticket to change the world. And a lot of people don't understand that. They see these people on TV and everything, and they're like, man, those people are awesome. They were gifted with a lot of great things. But what they don't understand, those people are just people. They all have 5.5 liters of blood, just like you, 2 hands, 2 feet, the same brain you do. They just chose to use their gifts to change the world, and they did. And maybe nobody has challenged you before to start thinking about what your gifts are and how you can impact the world, but you absolutely can. And please don't let me hear anybody say, well, it's too late now, I'm already like a couple years into my major, don't really want to change. Might be like 2 or 3 more years before I can ever really do that. And I'm no mathematician, I'm no efficiency expert, but I would venture to guess that 2 or 3 more years studying something that you're passionate about is worth way more than 40 years in a career that you hate. Call me wrong, call me crazy, that's what I believe. And basically, what I'm saying is that's a pretty weak excuse, and it's going to reward you like a weak excuse. You can either choose to realize that now or later, the choice is yours. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what other people have told me as well. And one thing that's very important is, you know what you want to do. You know what your interests are. And you might go to a counselor, you might talk with older sisters or whatever, whoever you want to talk to. But one thing I would challenge you guys to do is of course, your dreams are way more important. I would say go with those. But don't ever ask what the world needs. Because what the world needs are people who are alive, who are doing what they are passionate about. When you have too many people working somewhere that they don't want to work, that's where you get boredom, that's where you get anger, hatred, and a lot of misunderstanding. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. People that just don't get it. They're like, why am I here? Why? I don't understand what my life is about now. It's because they settled. They made one settle here, and another settle here, and another settle here. And eventually, they got to the point where where did I go wrong? Where did I mess up? And it's because they listened to somebody else about what they should do, and they were handed a script that wasn't meant for them. And it didn't last very long. So please, by all means, do not ask somebody else what you're supposed to do, because they can't tell you what's in your heart. They can't tell you what's important to you and what's going to bring you alive. And that's more important than anything I can ever tell you. You guys need to understand there's a purpose for your life. And I don't know where your faith brings you. I don't know where you are, but you need to understand that you guys, everything that's in your heart, everything that's in your brain, every experience you've had has crafted you into a way to make you perfect for a specific job. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, straight from the Bible. I mean, our country was founded on that text, whether you believe it or not. It's pretty important. It really gives us a lot of value. And what I would say is don't ask how, because when you know why, the how doesn't really matter. How is a faithless question, and it's going to get you in more trouble than it's worth. When you know why you want to do something, just do it. You know, you want to go teach in Africa for 5 years, just do it. Don't worry about how it's going to happen, because that's going to cut your desire off the knees just worrying about how you're going to do it. Just do it. It really is that simple. It may not seem that much, but it really is. And I kind of want to touch on relationships here for a second. And I mean relationships on a broad spectrum. Day-to-day interaction. I heard this really great story about an Indian woman who renounced everything she'd ever owned. You know, she walked around naked all day. And people would just yell and scream at her. Some people would be like, "You're awesome, I could never do that." So she got praise from both areas, right? Somebody asked her, like, "How do you do it? I don't understand, like, how you can take that abuse day after day." What I'm trying to get at is he was wondering how she didn't let the opinions of others, you know, really influence her very much. And she said, "Give me 2 pieces of cloth." Has anybody heard this story before? Maybe not. Okay, great. Give me 2 pieces of cloth. Meet me here tomorrow at this time and bring a scale. She walked around with a red and a blue cloth. And for everything that somebody nice said to her, she tied a cloth in this shoulder. And everything somebody mean said to her, she tied on this shoulder. She walked around for her whole entire day, and by the time the day was over, she had about 5 or 4 on this side of positive things, and about 20 to 30 of negative things. And she walks up and he's like, "Well, it looks like I was right. People really do treat you poorly." She was like, "Some do. That's true." And she said, "Well, now weigh them." And he was like, "I don't get it." And she was like, "Weigh them." And he was like, "Well, they weigh the same." She was like, "Exactly. They are just opinions from other people. And if I let them influence me, they don't know who I am. They don't know what I want to do in life. They don't know where I've been. And if they haven't taken the time to get to know me and why I've done what I've done, who cares what they think? Why would I let somebody else's opinion affect the great things that I'm going to do in my life? Affect my spiritual, why in the world would I do that?" And I just thought that was one of the most incredible things I had ever heard. You know, they build statues of heroes, not critics. Anybody can sit there and tell you what they think, but it takes a real hero to get in the ring and do it. And nothing can be said about that. Somebody wise once told me that no matter what you do, 10% of the population will always hate you, dislike you, for whatever reason, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have 2 choices. You can either look at them and try to cater to everything that they want, or you can choose to ignore them and do what makes you happy, and do what you were meant to do. And the choice really is yours, and unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people kind of choose the former. And my question is why? Why would you let somebody hold you back from the things that you want to achieve in everyday life?